So Sharon Turner in Langhorne, the 55 and older community. The wife was not present for the estimate, the husband was, so I would check in with her because he didn't like walk around, or he didn't totally know what she was looking for. So I would just check in with her quickly before you get going. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm starting in the backyard. So the property goes to here. So trimming wise, I would probably leave all this alone unless she says otherwise. But you can kind of clean up the beds a little bit, weed them out just a little bit. These three little guys, you can lightly prune them and shape them. This one, I would ask her if she wants us to kind of snip some of these branches that are getting onto her deck, and then maybe snip some of the branches, like maybe just this one that's like into the yard. The rest I'll plan for it to just leave it alone unless she says otherwise. You know, maybe a couple snips of the low ones here. Moving in here, light prune and shape of that. It's going to be pruning, shaping, and weeding of all the beds, pretty much everywhere. So all the arborvitaes, though, I would not do anything to them. That one's really struggling. Arborvitaes in general, I don't really trim them, so just let them kind of fill in. I don't know if they've been trimming these or the deer are eating them or what, but let those just fill in. But you can weed out all here. Depending when we come out, there's a lot of weeds all in this area. Ask her what I would say, like cut these back, not completely, but kind of some of the dead stuff that's on them. Just do a light trim back of these, and then there's some weedy growth there. You can yank it and pull it. Looks like a vine is choking out this guy. So this plant is the same as this, but this vine's choking it out. So pull that weedy vine off, and then cut out some of the dead stuff. Clear up the weeds here, some weeds over there. It's actually a vine growing up on the house. Could yank all that off. Big weed here to yank. There's a vine choking that thing out. Lightly prune and shape that. Prune and shape that. So this plant, you can keep it unanimous, but I would trim it, cut the stuff that's growing on the siding. Same thing over there, just to kind of tame it off the AC unit, things of that sort. And then weeding out all here. Weeding out all this. All those little spokes of growth, you can cut them out. This tree, I'll probably say, I guess nothing, but if they want to trim some of these branches that are intruding onto that one, might be a good idea, and maybe this one a little bit. I would recommend that to her if she's good with it. We'll plan for that. Weed out here, prune this guy back. You can see where the new growth is. I don't see any weeds here, but if you see any weeds in the beds, yank them up. They look pretty good for the most part. Lightly prune and shape that. This guy, I would just like shrink it down just a little bit, just to create separation between that shrub. Hostas we can leave alone for now. The holly along the front there, just square it all off. You can see where all the new growth is. Trim it and shape it. Weed out the beds. And then lastly, this holly, trim and shape it. I did mention to them, it looks like they kind of almost had like a design going with the thing. So I don't know if they want that to just fill in or they want to cut it out, keep the design, but just check in with her, and that's it.